Hello, my name is Katie Wood, and I am a graduate student at Husson University. And today I will be presenting my self-reflection essay. I've been asked to reflect back on the semester and taking Human Resources Management 641, and I have chose diversity and inclusion for my topic. I have also uploaded a PowerPoint, and I hope you're able to follow along with me. We'll start with the abstract on slide number 2. Just like to tell you a little bit about how what I will be presenting and how I came to present on diversity and inclusion. Throughout this class, with the different videos we were watching, the different materials we had, the HR Essential book by Armstrong and Mitchell, I just kept thinking about diversity and inclusion, and it seemed like in most all of the chapters and the different resources we had for this class, it intertwined. And so I decided that I would take a look at diversity and inclusion from starting with the 60s right into the 21st century, and also look at my personal experiences as well. So let's move forward. And I apologize, I'm losing my voice this evening, so please bear with me a little bit. Okay, let's look at slide 3. It's like, how far have we come with diversity and inclusion? You know, from 1964, when the Civil Rights Act passed, up until today in the 21st century, where, you know, diversity and inclusion is a required class in most of the large companies here in the United States. Civil Rights Act passed in 1964, and what was enforced after the legislation passed is that companies with 15 or more employees who were found that they could not discriminate in hiring, termination, promotion, compensation, or any other terms on employment based on race, color, sex, national origin. And, you know, here we are in the 21st century where a lot of companies with more than 15 employees are required to have that diversity training. But what happened back in the 60s, let's talk about the 60s and 70s, is after the Civil Rights Act passed, you know, there was a lot of reinforcement, and also a lot of people started standing ground especially in the 1970s. There were a barrage of different discrimination cases that were filed with the EEOC, the Equal Employment Opportunity Commission, and people really started standing up for what they believed. And I'm fortunate enough, my personal reflection back here is my grandmother, who graduated from University of Rochester, one of the first women to earn their nursing degrees way back, I think it was the 40s. She was instrumental. She was an activist and an educator, and she brought family planning into the state of Maine. And, you know, her mission was to educate people on, you know, protection and other things. And she went into the schools. It was very interesting. Got a lot of pushback, but just, you know, stood her ground as a woman. So, you know, a little bit of diversity there. Let's move forward to slide 4, the 1980s, you know, scaled back a little bit with some compliance and some diversity training. The average employees, they said, and management required to take anti-discrimination training. Of course, there was no real description for what the average employee was. And a movement for companies to develop courses for women and people of color to fit in. And really what they were talking about was the research showed that they were having them fit in because they didn't think that they were qualified to be managers in companies. And I look back at it, and that was my first job in a corporate setting, 1983, Holiday Inn in Bangor. And there were no managers who were female up at the top. And matter of fact, I look back at it also and think of visiting my father at the oil company he worked at, walking down what was basically male row And it was not single, excuse me, it was white male row. And at the end of the hall, I say row, offices to the left and right with men, and then there's the female secretary. Very interesting reflecting back and looking at everything now. So the 80s, we were involving, we thought we knew everything back in the 80s, but we really didn't know everything back in the 80s. Let's take a look at the 90s and into the 21st century with diversity and inclusion. Diversity learning, it was expanded. White men were now included in taking a lot of the diversity training, and I'm sure they were, previous too, but it was really thought that white men were a problem in the workplace back then. And they probably were indeed. And so there was the division between compliance and diversity inclusion had all been put together back before the 1990s or rolled into one course. And then it separated in the 90s. And, that really gave the opportunity to go into a deeper level with diversity and inclusion training. And it also gave hope to, people who were thought of as being different or maybe having additional needs in the workplace, because all of a sudden they were being paid attention and all of a sudden they were being valued for a person and what they were bringing to the table in the workplace. Let's take a look at, if you're following along with the PowerPoint, it's slide 6. Excuse me. 2016, research proves today companies with great diversity outperform their peers by a significant margin. And the statistics, I have them on the slide here. Gender diverse companies tend to be over 15% more likely to outperform their peers. And ethnically diverse companies are 35% more likely to outperform their peers. Just those first two statistics are just quite amazing. I bet you if they did research today, even at the end of 2016, the numbers would increase. And I have, just so you know, sourced all this information in a reference page at the end, should you want to look at some additional facts and figures on performance of diverse companies. I'm happy to be a part of a diverse company. I work in a matrix environment, and I really contribute the success of our department to a diverse group of people. Sometimes I'm on the phone and it's very difficult to understand some of our team members. We're from all around the world. And, due to what types of backgrounds we bring into our project, I really attribute our, different skill sets and where we come, our different origins, to being successful. Matter of fact, we're so successful, we just brought a new product to market, speed to market, within 9 months. So I truly enjoy working in a diverse company. A competitive advantage, slide 7. Diversity is more than gender, more than race, more than ethnicity. It's about age. It's about now gender identity, physical, mental ability. It's important to not just look at color, woman, when we're talking about diversity and, including everyone. It's, job position, it's religion, spiritual beliefs. We need to learn to leverage our differences and meet the needs of those that we work with so we can make a difference for the customers we serve and the communities that we live in. And we do that by bringing everybody together. Styles and strengths are also included. We need the introverts, we need the extroverts, executors, influencers, relationship builders. It takes a whole village, it takes a lot of people to build the village. And, that's what I do at work. And I find it absolutely fascinating that we're able to make a difference. And I didn't really think about it until this course, just how important it is that we have, the people who think the quiet thinkers and the people who are very reactive. So it does take many people. How do companies keep up? How do they implement diversity through leadership development programs, intranet sites, online education committees, and councils? And I could go on, but I certainly am going to just say, in conclusion, slide 10, today, measuring the impact of diversity in the workplace, it's really shown by, your friendly, inviting work atmosphere, recruiting. You can see that the recruiting is to attract diverse job applicants, encouragement to share new ideas. Uh, so anyhow, I hope you enjoy reviewing the PowerPoint presentation and this presentation as much as I have enjoyed putting it all together for you. Thank you so much.